Hi guys, welcome to another new video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at testing using the mux directory. So um, I have this simple code over here where we have a customer row, which is simply going to show a table row by a simple component, which is simply showing some basic information about the customer. And it has some methods inside of it, right? In which each of these methods is using the workers API. So we have a worker which we are getting it from a different file over here. So we have this worker initialized over here, and then we are sending messages to that particular worker. So this is perfectly fine, works in the browser. Now, how do we test an API like this? So obviously, when you want to test stuff that really don't want to interact with, since we are using a testing environment, you go by mocking it. I'm using vtest, which is basically just but a little bit faster. So that's why we have vi, right? In actual fact, it should have been just, which that would also work, but if you're using just anyways. So we mock this particular file, we mock it, and once that is mocked, we can go about and writing our test as it should. So let's go on running our test. So I want to go on and run the test, and you can see that it's failing. Even though we've mocked the worker file, even though we've mocked it, it's failing. And the reason for that is simply because over here in this particular file, when just or the test runner is picking it up, is going to run this particular code. Since it's initializing this, sorry, what was this? Since it's initializing this particular variable. So it's going to run that, and that's what you have over here. So you see that it's running it, but it finds out that worker doesn't exist inside the testing environment. So how do we fix a case like this when our mocking actually isn't working? So what you we will do is to create a mocks folder, or a mocks directory inside or corresponding to the particular file itself, and then create the exact same file, right? Worker.ts. In this case, what will happen is that the test runner, instead of using this particular file, instead of using this worker file directly in your test case, it will rather skip it and use the one inside the mux directory. So let's define the APIs which is corresponding to what worker has. So I've gone ahead and defined all the APIs, and in the still I'm using vtest, so you can use just in this case, right? So you define, so worker is simply an object with these various functions inside of it: add event listener, remove event listener, and post message, right? And post message is the one that we are actually using over here. So once you define all these mock functions, then you can run the test again, and you can see that the test is now passed. So this is one of the use cases where there's mux directory actually comes into play. It's usually when you are dealing with variables that are being initialized already inside the application or inside the test, right? Outside of functions. So if you are defined, let's say, for example, a function, let's say, create something. If you had defined a function like this wouldn't really matter because it will mock this particular function and it's not being called. So only when we use uh so when we define this particular function in this case like that without this worker, so what would have happened with just is that since we are mocking that particular file, is going to pick all the functions and create the corresponding mock version of it. So it won't cause any changes in our particular test. But in this case, we are initializing the an actual variable, which by default, which just will, or the test runner will actually run, which will cause breaking tests. And in order to fix that, we simply just define the mock version of that particular variable using the mocks direction. So that's all I have for this particular video. See you guys in the next one. Thanks very much.